Welcome to the Ernest Faison Show again. I'm your host, Ernest Faison. Hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm really excited about this show, and I couldn't wait. I really consider it to be a feather in my cap because I have a Rhode Island baseball legend, Mr. John Kindl. John, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ernest. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, who would have thought there at Renegade Sports Facility that you would actually be on my TV show?
Well, I didn't even know you had the show. You know, I've known you for a year or more, and you never mentioned it to me.
I know, trying to be on the down low. Yeah. So, John, you born 1942, went to high school there at Warwick Vets. Why don't you just take me through actually what got you interested in baseball?
Yeah. Well, I grew up here in Providence till I was about 6 years old, and we moved to Warwick when I was second grade. And in Providence here, my grandfather lived in the bottom floor of our house, and he would take me out in the street and we'd play catch. And I got like throwing a ball around and catching a ball. And when I moved to Warwick, it was like going to baseball heaven. I mean, the boys were playing at the schoolyard all the time, and I played with the bigger boys. You know, they let me play with them. They were very good. And I learned how to catch and throw and hit and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, I guess you did. I guess you did real good. And this is a picture of you when you were 12?
I'm 12 years old, playing at the Warwick Little League at Ben Street.
Wow. Look at that black and white, man.
Yeah, we were state champions that year and the year before, too. But,
yeah. What position did they have you playing, John?
I always played outfield, usually center field on my team. Yeah.
I like what you said. When you're in the outfield, you get 3 shots. Either you're good at left field, center field, or right field.
Well, that helped me a lot in Little League when I was a 10-year-old. You know, 10-year-olds usually didn't play, but I could play good enough on my team to be one of the outfielders. So I played all the time at 10 years old. I think me and one other boy were the only 2 10-year-olds playing in the whole Little League.
And like I told you, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this on the air that Jim Foster, one of your childhood buddies, said hello.
Yeah.
And his face just lit up when he found out that I was going to have you on my TV show, man.
Yeah, he was 2 years behind me in the Little League. He was a good player. His son made it to AAA. He was a great ball player. Now the son's a coach at West Point.
Wow. Talking about doing good. So take me from Warwick Vets, education-wise, where'd you go? What'd you do?
Well, I graduated Warwick Vets in 1959. I went to URI. My dad didn't want me to go off to play baseball anywhere. He said, no, you got to get education, so you're going to college. So I wasn't ready anyway to go to any place for baseball. So anyway, I go to URI. I took engineering, and I played some varsity baseball. And the senior year, I was the all-conference center fielder, and the scouts were chasing me around pretty good, and there was some big money figures floating through the air. But I got hurt. I pulled a muscle, and it all kind of ended. So I said, well, what am I going to do now? So I signed up for graduate school. I went this fall of '63 to graduate school, and then the Cardinals signed me about Thanksgiving time finally.
Yeah, we're going to get into all of that. You're watching the Ernest Faison Show. I'm your host, Ernest Faison. No, do not try to adjust your set. I have, in fact, tried to improve my set. I'm a work in progress, and I'm so happy to have my friend, I call him a friend, Mr. John Kindl, who actually ended up playing professional baseball. He's explaining some of his educational background. So as we continue, you did the Warwick Vets. You went to graduated from URI in '63. So from there, take me.
All right, well, like I said, I had the injury. The doctors wouldn't let me play baseball in the summer of '63, which I normally would have done. So I said, okay, so I signed up for graduate school at URI, and while I was there in the fall, the Cardinals, New England Scout, and Rhode Island area Scout, they came to the university and checked me out, make sure I could throw and all that, run around a little bit, and then they signed me. So I went to spring training then in the spring of '64.
So if memory serves me correctly, we're talking '63, '64. Vietnam is going on.
Yeah. So '64, I went to spring training in Florida with the Cardinals, and after a few weeks there, my dad said, well, the Army sent you a letter, you're reclassified 1A. He says, you better do something. So I went in and talked to the Cardinal brass, and they said, okay, we'll fly you home and see if you can join the reserves or the National Guard or something, you know.
So meanwhile, they were patient with you, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Uncle
well,
Sam,
yeah.
I mean, you got to do what Uncle Sam said
Yeah,
back then,
well,
yeah.
you know, so I joined the reserves, and a few days later I'm back in Florida playing ball again in spring training. But the Army said, well, you don't have to do anything till late summer. So August 12th, I think it was, I had to leave my team in Winnipeg, Canada, and fly to Fort Dix, New Jersey, do 6 months of Army duty.
How'd you like that, John?
Well, it was okay, you know, it was a tough day. It gets you up early in the Army, you know, and it's a long day.
It's called Old Dark 30 is what we call it.
Sometimes they wake you up in the middle of the night with a Chinese fire drill or something, too,
Well, that's
you know,
right.
so.
And for those who didn't do the thing the right way, they get a blanket party.
Yeah, you get a lot of push-ups if you do something wrong. And,
Yeah.
you know,
What was your MOS? Do you recall?
medical corpsman,
Okay,
you know.
yeah. And you went to school for mechanical engineering, is that
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And ended up getting your master's degree as a mechanical engineer.
Yeah, I worked on it in the off seasons, and when baseball season would end, I'd go back to URI and take some more classes.
You told me it took you, 6 years?
Yeah, it took a
Something
long
like that?
time. Yeah, I missed a semester here or there because of some other thing, but so.
Right. Okay, so we brought some visual aid here because we really were impressed with some of the things that you did. And the Warwick Beacon
Yeah,
said, you know what?
What an honor.
We got a baseball legend here, so we need to honor him.
that's the
And
nicest article I've ever had
this
written
is
about.
our buddy here, John Kindl. How many days ago, John?
I was in the Beacon last week.
Yeah, last week.
Thursday, I think it came out.
They kind of documented his story and everything like that.
Yeah.
That was outstanding. I know you like a cult hero to your grandkids and all the kids, huh?
Well,
They love Granddad.
they don't really understand it all, I think, but yeah, the two grandsons play some baseball, and
And you told me you have a granddaughter that's outstanding in
Yes.
soccer now.
she's the greatest soccer player. She's been on 2 national champion girls soccer teams when she was
2.
13 and 14 years old, and
Wow.
they split the team up, and now she went to another team because they wouldn't let her play high school. They own you now in these sports teams, you know. They wouldn't let her play high school ball, soccer. So she switched to another team that did, and she's all-state Massachusetts fastest soccer player.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Ernest Faison Show. Hopefully you're enjoying your summer. I certainly am. I did some skydiving. I got a chance to talk to a professional baseball player here, John Kindl, and he's explaining, just some of his life things that he's done. Like I said, who would have thought there at Renegade that we'd be here? And you just had a knee replacement, is that right?
Yeah, I gave in and had to have my right knee done. It was bothering me too much.
And now you're back playing tennis.
Well, I was on the court the other day for the first time.
You got good genes, John.
And I was amazed how good it felt, my knee. I didn't feel no pain at all. It was great. So looking forward to the next tennis season here this fall and winter.
Tell you what, man, I mean, you're an inspiration. You know what I mean? When I look at people like you who've done some of the things that you've done, and then at this advanced age, to actually have a knee replacement and still be able to get out there and be mobile and enjoy the things you like to enjoy. I mean, it's really a blessing.
Well, I've been pretty lucky to stay pretty healthy. My wife takes good care of me, you know.
That's always good.
We had our 50th anniversary last year.
Oh, wow.
She's still putting up with me, so that's
a beautiful thing.
I'm
That's
blessed
going to be the golden anniversary,
I'm
right?
blessed to have her, I'll tell you.
I know. You're only as good as the woman behind you.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Behind every good man is a good woman.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's
It's true.
right.
My parents were married 50 years, so my mother's up in glory now, and she's smiling down right now, so I can really appreciate that. As we move forward, John, so you did the AA, and you were an outfielder, right?
Yeah, after A ball and all that in the Army, they sent me to AA ball at Tulsa. And I had a really good spring. I was very eager because of being in the Army 6 months and all that, and I was ready to play ball. And I had a great spring. And I started to get, like, the Louisville Slugger Company gave me a bat contract.
Speaking of which, John, that was the perfect segue, because ladies and gentlemen, he was
Yeah,
nice enough to bring in a Louisville Slugger
Yeah. Well,
1968.
they sign you up and they get your name on your bats, and you can order all these. They have different style bats. They have a letter and a number on the end of the bat that designates the shape of the bat, and you can order the weight and the length you want.
And this was 32 ounces, is that right?
That one is, yeah. I use lighter ones most of the time, but the batting practice I would always get a couple of heavier ones, you know.
Wow. And in your best year, what you hit, 21 home runs? Was that your best year as far as home runs?
65 was my only year. I played the whole year without interruption. I played 136 games that year, and I hit 21 home runs.
Look at the intricate detailing to this. That's why they were very
famous. They were pro bats. They cost $4 a piece.
Back then,
sometimes they make you pay for them, but sometimes the manager would say, "Okay, you guys, give me a bat order." So I'd order 10 or 12 of them.
I just feel honored to be able to hold something 50 years old.
I broke 3 of those. Man. One night I broke 3 of those in one night. I remember.
Wow, very, very impressive. Your visual aid is off the chain. So we speak about you playing with the Cardinals. Ladies and gentlemen, John Kindl played with the Cardinals. What years did you tell me you played with them again?
Well, there was all Cardinal teams, but the big club, I went to the big club after the '66 season. They called me up to the Cardinals, the real Cardinals, the big club.
And we got another excellent visual aid. Still got the dirt on it and still probably smell nice and fresh too.
Yeah.
What year did you play with the Cardinals with this?
Well, I went to spring training 1967, and that was my...
Another 50-year-old artifact.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Then I got hurt in spring training, and they eventually sent me back to AAA, and then the Cardinals decided to trade myself and a couple other people to the Chicago Cubs.
And on that St. Louis Cardinal team, it was just blowing me away as some of the players that you played with. You played with the menacing Bob Gibson on the mound. You got a Bob Gibson story for me?
Well, the first time I had batting practice in spring training with the Cardinals, they put me up to bat against Bob Gibson. Tim McCarver was behind the plate, and Gibson's on the mound. He's pitching to me. He's not fooling around. He's throwing them. And I got trouble. It was spring. I hadn't played since the summer before, so I was fouling off a lot of pitches. I didn't hit too many good ones. And he was, that's the way he pitched, though. He did not just pitch, he didn't want to pitch batting practice. He wanted to pitch,
I heard
he was a tough guy. He was a tough guy.
I heard you didn't want to stand in that batter's box when he would throw that ball.
Well, yeah, you have to be careful if he's pitching in a game. He'll buzz you. If you hit one hard off him, he's not afraid to buzz you,
Yeah. He probably was big enough at that time probably to play pro football then, wasn't he?
He was a big boy,
I always heard a lot about him.
A couple 100 pounds.
Just being really, really
he was
stout.
Very, very athletic looking,
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the St. Louis Cardinals 1967 roster. John was kind enough to bring this in, and I'm just looking at some of the names on here. Roger Maris.
Yeah, we shagged balls in the outfield in spring training. We'd have something once in a while together.
He had the standard for the most home runs there, right?
Yeah, you hit 61 home runs.
And, of course, after the steroid era, when our buddies there, Mark McGuire there and Sammy Sosa started doing steroids.
Yeah, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds.
Yeah, Barry Bonds as well.
Yeah.
You played with Steve Carlton.
Steve Carlton was my roommate my rookie year. And one night he had a great game. He struck out 17 guys, and he went right up to the big club from A-ball, which was kind of unusual. Yeah, he was a great roommate.
Lou Brock.
Lou Brock. Terrific runner. He could run. He looked like a cheetah. I mean, he was built like a cheetah. He could run like crazy. He was a good player.
Kurt Flood.
Yeah, he was a center fielder.
And Kurt Flood has a historical significance because he was the first to actually start bringing up that stuff with free agency. Is that right?
That's right. The reserve clause, and we had meetings with the Marvin Miller of the guy that started the baseball players union.
Because you told me at that time, like LeBron James, for those who know LeBron James, he kept going from team to team.
Yeah.
He went to Cleveland, then Miami, now he's with my Los Angeles Lakers. Now, Kurt Flood was the first to actually be able to have people to do that, right?
Well, nobody could go anywhere. Whatever team you're on, they pretty much owned you, and they could do whatever they wanted.
Right.
And, you know, they made it now. After that, they made it where after so many years, you can ask to be sent off to some other team. Where some guys wanted to move to some other area. Kurt
I
Flood.
always wondered, not to cut you off, I always wondered what was the significance of Kurt Flood. And I really appreciate you for being on the show to shed some light on the fact that
Well, he was the first one to challenge the whole system. You know?
That's incredible.
And he had a big family. His wife.
You say he had 5 kids back in
kids. He's around
Georgia.
Atlanta. He wanted to be traded to the Atlanta.
Yeah, so he can be close to his family.
Braves, so he'd be close, and they would never manage a trade for him. So he
Whatever came out of that, John? How did that
eventually they
go
made
forth?
it. They made it so after so many years, you can ask to be. He can be free agent.
And it's all because of Kurt Flood.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Yeah, it took a while though, didn't it? It didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember what year it finally came about, but
Yeah, but it did come about.
anyway, when I was at spring training, that was the start of it. We used to have meetings.
My name is Ernest Faison. You're watching the Ernest Faison Show. Hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm joined by John Kindl, local baseball, I'm going to call him legend. And it's an honor, ladies and gentlemen, to have this man on the show. I mean, he's played with Bob Gibson, Roger Maris, Kurt Flood, Lou Brock, people that you hear about, Steve Carlton. And he's sitting there now, and he's hit over 21 home runs in a season, you know what I mean? And he's still spry, young whippersnapper. I mean, hopefully I can drink some of the Kool-Aid that you drink. For real, man. It's very, very impressive, though.
I'll help you out anytime you want with the help.
It's a blessing. As we move forward, you were speaking about your career in '64, and I'd be remiss if I didn't speak about all the social issues that were going on then, Vietnam, segregation with the African-American players and yourself. What was that kind of like for you?
Well, the first time I experienced it was A-ball, 1964. We were playing somewhere, and we get to the hotel, and usually the black guys and Puerto Rican guys would room together, and the white boys would room together, 2 at a time, everybody 2 in a room. One night, one game, Wally Williams, one of the black players, and myself were the oddballs. I was the odd white boy, and he's the odd black boy. So I say to the manager, says, I like Wally. We'll be roommates. I'll be roommates with Wally.
You told me you also play golf together.
Yeah, we even played golf. And we played 3 years with Wally. He was always the left fielder, and I'm always the center or right fielder. And the manager said, he can't do it. They wouldn't let a white boy and a black boy be in the same room together. So I was kind of surprised, really. But being from the north here, I wasn't very much involved in what's going on with the segregation. That was my first glimpse.
Wow. That was the first time.
First time because playing ball around here, I never, everything.
And what state were you in when that was all taking place?
Oh, it's either North or South Dakota or Minnesota. I can't remember.
Okay.
In some hotel we were playing in some town there.
Right.
That's where the ball games were.
Afterwards, did you guys keep in contact as life went on?
Yeah, well, I sent him a Christmas card, or I'd call him once in a while. He's a big golfer, and last time I talked to him, he's playing golf every day. But he's deceased now, so.
Right. Yeah. That is really a good story. And the Don Larson perfect game with the Yankees.
Yeah.
1956, right?
Yeah, I remember coming home from school to watch the Yankees play the Dodgers, and Don Larson pitched the perfect game. That was 1956. I was 14. And, when I was 1967, we were actually teammates. He was 38.
Blowing me away with this stuff, man. I mean, I read about this stuff in the history books. Yeah. Here I got my buddy John Kindl on the Ernest Faison Show. He's telling me about the Don Larson perfect game. You were 14 years old.
14.
What was your thought? Did you think, okay, so he's getting close. Can he really do it? I mean, what was the emotion going on with you?
There was a lot of tension. I remember it. I remember when he struck out the last batter, Dale Mitchell, I think his name was, a left-hand batter, and he got him on a called third strike. And, everybody jumped up. Oh, my gosh, what did we just witness here, And the Yogi Berra jumped into his arms and all that.
Yeah, he was a catcher, correct?
Yeah, it was a great scene. Yeah. And he was still, he was 39 years old when I was playing with him, and he still was very effective. He was short relief. He'd only pitch a third of an inning, 2/3 of an inning at a time.
39 and still pitching.
The first 8 1/3 innings that he pitched was perfect ball. at 39 years old.
So he was Mariano Rivera before Mariano Rivera was Mariano Rivera.
He was the prime short reliever. He had a nice little slider, sneaky fastball.
I'll just get ready to ask you.
He was a big guy. He was like 6'4", 230 or 40.
Oh, he was big like that?
He was a big boy.
Roger Clemens type.
Yeah, I don't know how tall Roger was, but Don was 6'3" or 4.
Okay.
He could hit, too. He was a power hitter.
Oh, wow.
You know, he'd pinch hit once in a while.
Okay.
You know?
What do you think about this kid who was playing with the Angels, Otani, from Japan? Have you heard of him?
I've
He's
seen him a couple
pitching
of times.
and he's hitting.
Yeah, well, these phenoms come along once in a while.
Right.
It's not very often, but...
Because I know in the United States, you assign to one skill set, either hitting, pitching, or, outfielding.
Well, there's not a lot of guys. I think probably one of the best ball players ever was a guy like Willie Mays. He could do everything,
Willie Mays. Funny that you would say about Willie Mays. Here you got the official baseball guy that you brought. By the way, this gentleman brought a lot of excellent visual aids. Willie Mays. Who else is that again?
That's Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax. My goodness.
Yeah, he was the greatest lefty. I never got to face him. I was hoping I would, but I never did. I got to face some other Dodger pitchers, but not him. He retired. When I was at spring training with the Cardinals in '67, he had just retired after the end of the '66 season.
Okay.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Ernest Faison Show. I am very honored to have Mr. John Kindl on my program, pro baseball player for the what? St. Louis Cardinals. This hat is almost 50 years old. He's brought in the Louisville Slugger, another bat, almost 50 years old piece of wood here.
fossilized.
Treated very, very good. So the next question I have for you, this little gem here, the Cubs.
Yeah.
What significance would that be?
Well, I got traded to the Cubs. Ted Savage, another outfielder, and I got traded to the Cubs. Ted Savage was National League Rookie of the Year in 1964, I think. So we were outfielders now in the Cardinals organization. They traded us to the Cubs for a couple of players. I forget who anymore. And
Wow.
But I was injured, so the Cubs sent me back to Double-A to rehab. So I spent the whole season in rehab.
And you brought another little gem, little visual aid, a baseball signed by?
Well, that's my old first roommate, Steve Carlton.
Steve Carlton signed that
He was
baseball.
playing for the Phillies at the time, and the manager of the Phillies was a player that I played with. We were on the same team once. So I said, hey, Steve, send me a couple of signed baseballs. I wrote him a check for $50, mailed it to him, and I figured he's not going to take the money. So he sure did, and he sent me back a couple of baseballs and took the check too,
As we wind down, what would be the significance of this prop?
Well, I was at a Red Sox game in Baltimore with my grandsons, and they had the Jim Palmer Day.
Jim Palmer.
Jim Palmer. So I played against Jim Palmer. I probably played 2 or 3 games against him, and I grabbed a couple of his statues for the grandsons.
Yeah.
And I kept one for myself. And he's all Hall of Fame pitcher. He was pretty good, but he got a lot better after I faced him. He pretty much just had a fastball when I faced him. But he learned the slider and all the change-ups and all that. He Hall of Fame, next thing you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Ernest Faison Show. We're getting a history lesson in baseball by Mr. John Kindl. John, as we kind of wind this thing down, what do you think about the current state of baseball now with the steroid era and, what's going on?
Yeah, I was pretty disturbed about the whole drug thing. There were drugs when we were playing. There was guys football players mainly had it, but it's starting to come into baseball. But there wasn't so serious then. But later, after a few years after I was out of it, that's when all the problems started with the story. I don't like the whole situation.
Right. And speaking about a gentleman who you played with, Roger Maris, on that '67 World Championship club, he set the standard for 61 home runs. And I was in Australia then. I never forget just all the media coverage of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, chasing that. And that's when I think the steroids came to the forefront.
Yeah, nobody knew how they were doing it, but
I saw Mark McGwire, when he played with the A's, and then I saw him later on when he played with the Cardinals or whoever it was, and I mean, he was buffed
Oh, he's a huge.
And I mean,
he was 6'5",
Yeah.
big boy. He didn't need to take anything.
Right,
He
exactly right.
He would have.
He played with Conseco, the Bash brothers.
Yeah.
You know, back then.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. They were big, strong guys. They would have hit 50 home runs. They probably would have broken Rogers' record just by, not taking drugs.
That's right. And you tell the story about Reggie Jackson, the home run. I guess it was 410. You say the ball kept going past 410 like it was,
I remember
was never going to stop.
We were playing at Phoenix, and I was in left field that night, and Reggie Jackson came up the bat, and he had just signed with the Kansas City, Oakland. I was Oakland, yes. And he's up, and they announced him, and I hear his name. I said, "Oh, that's the kid that we've been hearing about. That's so great." So bam, he hits a home run over the right center field wall. That ball was out of the ballpark in 2 seconds. I mean, it landed out in the parking lot about 450 and it bounced one time. Looked like a golf ball.
That's what you told me. It bounced one time like it was going to go another 600 feet.
Oh, it probably
Unbelievable.
did. I'll bet it rolled out to 600 feet, that thing.
Wow. Here's another photo of you. What year was that?
Well, it looks like Cubs. Yeah, that's the Cubs. That's 67. Yeah. I
Outstanding.
wish I had pictures like that of me as a Cardinal, but I never got any taken. So, yeah, 67.
As we kind of wrap this thing up, John, you really educated us and gave us kind of like a history lesson on baseball. I mean, things that we read about. What would you say would be one of your lasting legacies when you think back about baseball and your years of playing baseball?
Mm-hmm. Well, I always loved baseball, and it was quite an honor to play with some of the guys I played with.
Unbelievable.
I looked at the Hall of Fame list, and I probably know 15 guys that are in the Hall of Fame just from the guys I played with, the coaches, and so forth.
Do you still keep in touch with any of those guys?
I keep in touch with some of my teammates from, especially the 1965 season. We email each other a lot. There's about 7, 8 guys I keep in touch with.
And that 67 championship team that beat the Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
You were on that squad, right?
Well, the spring training, but...
Yeah, but still. Did they give you a ring for that?
No. You got to...
No. You have to actually be on the actual team.
Yeah, you got to...
But still, your claim to fame, I mean, you were still in the system.
It would have been great if I could have stayed on the Cardinal team and then played against the Red Sox in the World Series. It would have been a real thrill, but that never worked out.
I played baseball, John. 1 year, I was in Baumholder, West Germany. I played second base, and I was a pitcher. And I could hear my coach at the dugout, Faison, quit throwing that sidewinder. Because I selected to Louis Tiant. There you go. Remember?
Oh, yeah,
the old submarine,
Yeah, he twist around.
We played 1 year with the Baumholder Orioles, and we won the championship. And that's my one claim to fame with baseball. I think if I had honed my skill, then maybe I don't know if I could have had stories like yourself. But
baseball's a kind of a funny game. You got to have the certain kind of eyes and things like that to be a hitter.
And eye coordination.
Yeah, you don't have to be big or anything. You got to be quick with the bat.
Right.
Like Mookie Betts is not a big man. He's a 5'9", 175 pounder, but he's got a fast hands and a fast bat. And
Outstanding. You're watching the Ernest Faison Show. I'm the host with the most. I'm joined by John Kindl. I could talk to this man all day, but unfortunately, it's been fun, but we've got to run. I've enjoyed having him on the program. Hopefully, maybe we can do this again. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourself. God bless.